Here, okay. Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 6 of the FPL Family. My name is Lee, this is Sam. I felt like it's been a long week, don't you? I feel like, on the back of last game week, it was such an FPL festival of brilliance that I feel like this week I just want to get to next weekend already. Just get the football going again. I've missed it already.
Well, you've been bored of spending a week at home with us, haven't you?
No, that's not the case at all. Not the case at all, as you know. And I've seen you put a picture on Instagram of us at Peppa Pig World, and somebody commented, "Is that Lee in the costume?"
Yeah.
Thanks for that, guys, whoever posted that comment. But guys, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Zoe Zebra.
Was it Zoe Zebra? Oh, you know all the names. I'm rubbish with the names.
It's what happens when you're a stay-at-home mum, isn't it? I mean,
you know all the characters of every TV show going. Guys, thank you for joining. This is episode 6 of this season of FPL Family. We have got a lot to cover tonight. This is our Game Week 2 preview video. So not only have we got to talk about all the upcoming fixtures, all the games where we think the FPL points are going to be, we're going to talk captain picks, which I think for me is between 2.
I think for everyone it's between 2, isn't it?
I think for everyone it's between 2, but there's some outside little punts that people are taking. We've got to talk about that. We've got to talk about captain's top point picks as well. We've got to talk Jammy picks. We've also got to talk about the Kevin De Bruyne news. So that is not actually that hot off the press. I think it happened earlier today, maybe even yesterday. Where De Bruyne has done his knee very innocuously. If you guys haven't heard, I'm sure you all have. Very innocuously in training. De Bruyne are out for a number of months. We don't know how many months now, but it is months. It's not days or weeks. It does appear to be months. So if he's in your team, you've got to think about what your exit strategy is. And, is Bernardo Silva now much more of an option? So we will talk about that, guys. We'll talk about all manner of things. Before we start, and I tweeted this earlier, I want to see you do the Dele Alli celebration, right? So I tweeted this earlier, and I don't know, the kids were playing in a playroom, and I just thought and I saw Pochettino do it. So Poch, he's in on this now. Pochettino's on Twitter.
They asked him to do it in a press conference, and he said he'd do it at the end.
It's on the official Spurs Twitter follow, on the Twitter account. Poch is done the Dele Alli celebration. Now, I've done it a few times. I actually did it, and I posted a picture of me on Twitter having done it. And Jeff, come on, Jeff, if you're listening, thank you for watching. Jeff said, "You've done it with the wrong hand." I was like, "Oh, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for raining on my parade." I don't know. I think I was doing it with my right, but you've got to do it with your left. So I'm going to give it a go.
Do it with my left.
I'm going to give it a go, and then you've got to give it a go.
All right.
Okay, so you've got to do that. no, I'm going to do it with my right. Right. That, and then fingers down, and then there. Look. That's right, isn't it?
You don't look as cool as Dele Alli.
Come on. Oh, I'll never look as cool as Dele Alli. Right, come on, let's see it.
Like that?
Oh my God, you absolutely nailed it. You've been practicing, haven't you?
Well, you told me I'd have to do this. So
with your left hand. So Jeff says left hand. Go on, let's see. Oh God, got it straight away. That's really annoying. That's really annoying. Right? Yeah, I think that's about right actually. It's just a bit annoying. Guys,
it's in the blood, you see. You're not Spurs, are you?
That's what it is. That is what it is. That is what it is. Thoughts very quickly before we say hello to everybody. Thoughts very quickly on the delay on the Spurs stadium. How do you think that's going to affect your season?
No, it won't affect the season. I'm a bit gutted that it's not going to be a FPL Family derby for the opening game.
Yeah, me too. Ground. And actually, Poch as well. Poch came out and said he's really disappointed that it's not going to be ready for the Liverpool game. He says there's going to be lots of people on both sides pretty disappointed about that, which I think is true. So
I don't think it's an issue. I think Poch came out today and was talking about how, the fans are obviously, some of the fans are obviously rightly upset, and some of the fans, a bit angry, particularly the season ticket holders, a bit angry about the cost of the new season tickets, and now we're going to be back at Wembley.
Have they got a refund, people?
Yes, they basically said they're going to do
messy.
some cash refunds, so it won't be credits on your accounts and that sort of stuff. So that's good. So they're saying all the right things, and Poch basically came out today and just said, "We'll win a load of games for you and make it up to you." And I thought, yes, that's the right attitude from you.
All right, okay.
I think it'll be fine. I think the only one is the City game. I think as long as they keep being transparent, which they are being at the moment, Spurs, they're being quite honest. So
from an FPL perspective, that is something to look out for, guys. I mean, we are talking weeks in the future here.
28th
but
of
I'm pretty
October,
sure, 28th of October, Man City have come out and said that they won't switch that game to the Etihad.
They said something about how it would give us an advantage later on in the season because they'd have 3 away games and we'd have 3 home games or something.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean,
enough,
I don't really think that they should be worrying about what we're doing.
You never know. They obviously see you as a key rival.
Well,
That's got to be a good thing.
Maybe. So I think from what Poch said today, Spurs don't want it to be a third ground in a season. We don't want a third home stand.
I can sort of see that.
So it's looking increasingly likely that it's going to be the day before at Wembley, or a couple of days later, because obviously you've got to fit in with Sky. That's the problem. So we could move it a day early at Wembley, but Sky have got the rights to the game.
All right. Okay. So it sounds to me as if it's getting
It'll be fine.
A bit of a drama, but I'm sure they will figure it out. So listen, we've got one piece of FPL family admin to do on the back of the last stream.
What's that?
So at the back end of the last stream, if you remember rightly, we were trying to look at who had won the wooden spoon.
Where is it?
Have you got it? You've put it to one side.
It's on the chair.
Shall I get it?
Get it.
I'll get it.
Hold the line.
So this is, guys, if you haven't seen it already, the FPL family wooden spoon. Now, the FPL family wooden spoon, for those of you that tune in regularly, will know that we are giving the wooden spoon out to the manager who has the biggest nightmare that game week, frankly. We like to celebrate success, but we also, FPL is a game at the end of the day. We like to see it when you've had a bit of a stinker and things haven't worked out. Now, you'll never believe, and I'm pretty sure I've told you this already, you'll never believe who got the wooden spoon.
Well, I've got to be honest.
From game week 1.
I am super thrilled that it has gone to one of our regular contributors.
Super thrilled?
Yeah, I am.
And a Liverpool fan as well. So Amonit, if you're on, welcome to FPL Family and thank you for tuning in tonight. Amonit, you are the winner of the very first ever FPL, the inaugural, which is a word I couldn't say last stream when I look back at the replay. The inaugural, I still can't say it, FPL Family wooden spoon for game week 1. Well done.
Is it going to be winging its way to India tomorrow?
So I've got Amonit's address. I'm going to send it. One thing that I hadn't considered, by the way, is the cost. I don't know how much it's going to cost to send a wooden spoon to India. We can't not send the first one.
We are about to find out tomorrow. Amonit, would you like us to sign them?
I'm not sending it signed for.
Sign the spoon. Does he want the spoon signed for? Amonit,
listen now, Amonit, if it's going to cost me 20 quid to send it to India, I'm afraid you might just have to have a picture of one on Twitter.
It's a good job that I'm sending it then, isn't it? I'm the one going to post office.
So we will send Amonit that wooden spoon, and guys, we will have a look at whichever, assuming that the leagues update in time on a Sunday, and even if they don't, on the stream in midweek, we will talk about who has won the wooden spoon for that game week. So,
in return, Amonit, we do wish to have a picture of you with said wooden spoon when it arrives in India.
Absolutely, we absolutely do want to see that. So that's what I wanted to cover. I do want to talk about, before we get into the games, we've got to do 2 things. One, say hello to the guys. Secondly, I want to talk about KDB and the impact that's going to have on Man City. So let's say hello to a few people first. Guys, thank you for joining as ever. So let's see who's in. So Jamal is here. Jamal, how are you doing? Good evening. Josh Telling is here. He says, great idea to have it autographed. Not sure it's a great idea, but thanks, Josh. Very, very good. Salah Mohammed, thank you, Salah. He's here. He's saying, geez, Amonit, did you captain Rondon or what, mate? That's very good.
Poor old Rondon.
Very good. FPL Cadet is here. Good evening. How are you doing? He's saying Aguero captain. He's one of the 2 popular picks, I think. Popular. Absolutely. Gary Shaw, hey FPL family. Hey Gary, how are you doing? JP43, I want the spoon. JP, listen.
Do badly then.
JP, listen. This is not the idea to want the spoon. Okay, not the idea to want the spoon.
Everyone wants a spoon.
Tom Bennett is here. Rahul is here. Dan's here. Alex Summerson. Tom Sheehan. Stephen Pembroke, who is a friend of ours, actually.
Oh, is he?
Stephen Pembroke, who is a friend of ours, actually outside of the FPL family.
That's my godson's daddy.
That's a friend of ours. So, Stephen, welcome and thank you for joining. I wonder if CJ is with you. If she is,
she'll be laughing.
Post on the live chat. I would love to see if she is. Pranoy is here. Dan's here. Liam's here. I hope it's a Train Productions, who is Fantasian FPL. Fantasian PL is here. Dom J is here. Amonit is here. Thanks, guys. At least I won something, he says. Amonit. Absolutely
tomorrow,
brilliant.
Amonit. It's coming tomorrow.
Absolutely brilliant. So, Bench FPO is here. Got to be Aguero captain, he says. I don't think it's got to be.
Oh, I think there's other options.
I don't think it's got to be. I'm very, very on the fence with this. Very, very on the fence. Dan is here. He says, how was Peppa Pig World?
It was brilliant.
Absolutely amazing, mate. Absolutely amazing. I'm absolutely buzzing for it. Joe Findlay Badder is here. And by the way, Joe now, in case you haven't seen, Sam, is a moderator for the live stream. So Joe and also Leo, who is in tonight, as well as Jeff, who moderated on the last stream. And there's one other as well, your mate Aid, isn't it? Lokonkan. All of those 4 guys are now moderators for the live stream. So guys, thank you very much for continuing to tune in twice a week, because I know the guys always join. They always join for the duration. That's why I pick them as moderators. So guys, thank you for helping us out with the live chat. Andrew Martin is here, Marcus is here, Dom J, Steve Smith, loads of people, loads and loads of people. MU Fan TV is here as well. So guys, thank you all for joining. We've got 138 people watching already, which is absolutely awesome. Including CJ and Stephen. So we've got 136 and 2 special guests. Is who we've got. So guys, we're going to crack on with looking at the fixtures. So before we do that, I need to change from the main screen and use the magic of OBS.
Make us small.
So over here, so you guys can see the chat. You can see our Twitter page as well. They're on the left-hand side. So as usual, here comes a plug for the Twitter page. If you're not following us already, at FPLFamily on Twitter. Go on. Before I plug you on Instagram, go on. You plug yourself on Instagram.
Yeah, it's not going that well, this competition, you know. Andy suddenly upped his game in terms of Instagram content.
I noticed that.
All of a sudden, he Instagrams 4 or 5 times a day.
You've got him running scared. Is that what it is?
Well, I think so. I think he's frightened of me. So I now need 200 of you to follow me.
That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Andy's got quite a big following on Twitter.
Andy's quite influential, isn't he?
Yeah.
Although I have noticed that my following has gone up by 60 since our last stream. So
that's like 10%.
Actually, it's doing quite well.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, Andy is absolutely destroying me, to be honest.
So guys, we are losing the Insta war. We are losing to Let's Talk FPL. So we need you guys to get over to @FPLFamily on Instagram and follow us on there as well. And if you haven't already, hit that like button on the video, hit the subscribe button. We are almost at 2,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing, given that at the back end of last season, we just hit the 1K, and we were delighted to get to 1K. We've almost doubled that, and we're only out of game week 2. I mean, this is absolutely insane. So guys, if you like the videos, if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. So let's get into FPL. I would like to talk to you about Kevin De Bruyne. What effect is this guy's injury going to have on Manchester City, both in the short term and in the longer term? Because I think, well, actually, it's the longer term. I don't think this is a short term thing. From what I'm reading, it's months. It's not weeks, it's months. So he's out for a while. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, the last I heard, three months, I think, that was the last I read. See, I'm in two minds about this. Obviously, KDB is undoubtedly a key player for City. There is no getting away from that. He is really influential for them. And as an FPL asset, he is... I'm not sure how many people actually picked him for the start of this season off the back of the World Cup. And so how many teams this is actually impacting now. But, City played Arsenal at the weekend, and actually were without KDB in that game.
Come on, he's still massively influential. They're still going to massively miss him. It's a big miss.
Of course, but Pep has got... we talk about this every week. Sané, Sterling. There's so many of them that can easily step up in that.
So Van Kush is saying Bernardo Silva in surely, and Steve Smith is saying 2 wins, 2 clean sheets with him on the bench. Yeah, I guess, guys. I guess.
I think he
Karthik is saying it won't affect City.
No, see,
affect City.
I don't think that the impact will be as large as it would be if, say, you lost Salah or we lost Kane. That is massive. City losing KDB is big, but there are so many other players that they can get to play in those positions. And I think from a fantasy point of view, what it does is it enables us to be a little bit more confident with people like Bernardo Silva.
Yes, I do. What about Gundogan as well, or even young Ben Foden? He's got to be given a potential chance, I guess, in the middle of that City midfield.
Yeah.
But I think the one that he's going to go to, I think, is Bernardo Silva.
Well, it makes absolute sense.
If you're on Bernardo Silva now, and I was, so pre-KDB news, coming out of game week 1, don't get me wrong, very happy with the goal, but I'm looking at that City bench thinking, well, Sterling was coming on, KDB is not yet on yet, so I'm thinking... it's only Sané, yeah, so I'm kind of thinking, well, it's only a matter of time, really, before Bernardo Silva gets dropped or rested. Now I'm thinking, well... is he going to become a real integral part of that City team?
I mean,
it's not that long ago Pep came out and said, well, it's Bernardo Silva and 10 others. The form is there, the fitness is there because didn't have much of a World Cup, if any. So what's not to like about Bernardo Silva right now? 7.5, and Man City's fixtures over the next 6 are absolutely the tastiest of fixtures you will ever get.
I mean, don't get me wrong, KDB is what KDB is. He's a miss to any team. But from an FPL point of view, actually might work in our favour. Yeah,
I think you're absolutely right. And Notorious Nerdy is saying Pep only trusts Bernardo. Ryan Foley, thanks for joining, Ryan. He's saying Bernardo Silva is a must at 7.5. Do you think he's a must? Do you think he's 100%?
I
think he's getting up there.
Yes, I think so. I mean, I'm still not on him at the moment because I had other things I was thinking about this week before the KDB news anyway. And the reason, as I said to you on the couple of streams ago, the reason I didn't do Bernardo Silva was because I was worried about this rotation risk that we see every week in the City midfield.
Okay.
I'm less worried about that now, so it may be something that I consider for game week 3, certainly with the way the fixtures are for City over the next few weeks.
Bench FPL has said, sorry, no, it wasn't Bench FPL, it was Jonathan Sunil Moses has said, who do you think will be on set pieces now for City? So with KDB not there...
That's an interesting question.
Do you think Mahrez has now got to step up and take more set pieces? I think he probably does.
Yeah.
I think he probably does. So does that make Mahrez more of an option? Yes, I think it does from that perspective.
Yeah.
I think it does. So Spencer Lee, good evening, Spencer. Thank you for joining. Spencer has just said, rightly so, as usual, on FPL Family. I've forgotten about the polls. So we're going to mention the polls. Guys, get onto the little white eye in the top right-hand corner. So if you go right-hand corner of the screen, there's a little eye. Click on that, and today we have 3 polls for you. So we are talking about...
You're pushing the boat out today, 3.
Oh, when I remember about the polls, they're good. I just got to remember. They are pretty good. I'm trying to up my game, but I'm still forgetting about them.
Oh dear.
So the first poll is about your free transfer for game week 2. What are you doing with that free transfer? Are you going to roll it? Are you going to spend it? Are you taking a hit? Are you taking multiple hits? Or have you just gone full on left field and played your wild card?
I've got people all over the shop on Instagram.
There are plenty of people on Twitter that have played their wild card. There's 2, 3, 4. There's a lot of people that have played their wild card, which is frankly, in my mind, completely bonkers.
One guy played his triple captain last week. He's played his wild card this week.
Oh my goodness me! Right, goodness me. Okay, guys. So let us know on the polls what you're doing with your transfer for game week 2. And that question came in from Clarky on Twitter. So Clarky, thank you for that.
Thanks, Clarky.
Game week 2 captain Aguero, Salah, Mendy, who's getting a lot of love on Twitter, Richarlison or Kane. And frankly, I could have put a few different Spurs players in there, but I've gone Kane because he's the kind of go-to captain option. So of those 5, are you captaining any of those guys? If it's somebody outside of that 5, let us know in the live chat who you're thinking of captaining. And then going back to our previous conversation, the third question on the polls is, how nailed on now is Bernardo Silva? Is he 100% nailed? Should he play most games? We still don't know. Or is Pep still going to rotate? So I want to get a feel from you guys, the FPL family community. What is the feeling about Bernardo Silva? Is he now nailed on? Is he an integral part of that team? Or are we still subject to the Pep roulette? The weekly Pep roulette, which we all love to hate. So those are the 3 polls, guys. Get on and click the little eye and do those polls. So let's go back to Man City, but kind of segue nice and seamlessly into the fixtures.
Seamlessly for us, that's unusual.
Seamlessly, yeah, because we've got to talk about these fixtures. We've got plenty to cover tonight, including our teams, our transfers, our captain picks, jammy picks. I've got some great jammy picks. I've got 2 great jammy picks.
Will you be? It's my jammy pick.
Oh, great jammy picks.
Goodness
Absolutely
me.
Great jammy picks. For your consideration, dear.
Okay.
For your consideration.
Oh, we're back to deer again, are we?
We are back to deer. So let's go to the games. Let's talk then about Man City. I mean, we've covered, I think, most of it in that talk we've just had. But what do you make of City versus Huddersfield at the Etihad? Is this going to be a Huddersfield lambs to the slaughter here, or do they have a chance? What's your feeling?
Sorry, Huddersfield fans, if there's any of you out there watching us.
I'm not entirely sure there are a lot of Huddersfield fans watching.
They're not going to be honest anyway, are they, at this point? If Chelsea can beat Huddersfield 3-0, City can beat them 6 or 7.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Chelsea did look good last week. I mean, you can't really say it in that context because Chelsea did look good, but Huddersfield didn't look great.
Yeah.
They didn't look great at home as well.
And yeah, they were at home last week, they were away this week. I only see a City victory in this game. Now, I wish I could remember the stat. There was a great stat about Aguero against Huddersfield, and I can't remember what it was.
What, that he's got an absolute ton of goals? I wouldn't be surprised.
But I can't remember what it was.
So Vankush is saying City to prove they can play without KDB. I think Vankush, they've probably proved that already. Last week.
Against
but
Arsenal.
It's Community Shield. They've played without him before. I think, like you said before, he will be a miss, but not going to be a massive miss, I don't think. Ibrahim is saying, imagine Huddersfield 2-0. I can't. Ibrahim, I just can't. I can't. Neil Craston is saying 5-0 City with a Sergio Aguero hat-trick.
Yeah.
Is there anything to say about this from an FPL perspective other than you need 3 City assets? And you don't just need 3 City assets for this game, but their next 6 fixtures, as is well documented now on Twitter, on Instagram, on these blogs, on these vlogs, the City games for the next 6 weeks are unreal.
Yeah.
If you've not got 3 City assets, get 3 City assets.
Yes,
and one of them should probably be Mendy.
The 3 promoted and the 3 last season promoted, isn't it? Um,
And what did you make of? I mean, we covered this a little bit on Sunday in terms of Mendy's performance.
I don't want to talk about Mendy anymore.
So first question for me is: are you drafting him in?
No,
He's not your transfer this week.
No.
Oof, okay, all right.
And I'll tell you why he's not my transfer.
Okay.
He's not my transfer because I didn't want to lose Robertson.
Yes. Okay.
And I'd have had to take a points hit otherwise.
Okay. All right.
You're not and I can't take a points hit in game week 1.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Alex is saying Aguero, Mahrez and Mendy. Peter Gray is saying Sterling. Now, Peter, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. If he wasn't 11 million, and that's a stupid statement to make. But the guy
if he was 2 million.
Yeah, if he was 2 million, he'd be straight in. But the guy, I just can't get him in without surgery at all, without losing Salah, which I'm clearly not happy to do. So I just can't get him in. But I think there's a lot of managers that are going to be in that situation. So if you can bring in Sterling without too much of a sort of major dissection of your team, he's proper differential territory, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the one I'd love. He is the one that I would love, and I just in my head this week, that's been my kind of thinking is how do I get Sterling, because I feel like, particularly since the KDB news, I feel like Sterling is going to be pivotal in that.
So MU Fan TV is saying lose Aguero to fund Sterling. Simple. Is it as simple as that?
Well, it would be as simple as that if Aguero wasn't my entry plan for Kane.
Right, okay, so we've got a whole other dynamic.
So there's a whole dynamic to
Absolutely.
this. But Sterling, I think everything you've just said is right. He's so important in that City team, and he will be really important going forward this season. I think 3 City is the way to go for sure.
Have you got 3 City?
No, I've got 2.
Okay, so who's your 2? Aguero and
Ederson.
Oh, we've got Ederson, haven't you? Okay.
So I am covered in terms of the defence. It's just if Mendy decides to go on one of his little forward assaults again,
which he was doing all day long against Arsenal, and you've got to think he's going to do that all day long against Huddersfield again.
Unless he's busy on Instagram or Twitter or whatever else it is he's doing on social media.
Did you see Pep's comments? Pep came out and said something like, sometimes I want to kill him, sometimes he's the best player I've got, and he said he loves him, but he just wants him to turn the Twitter down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the first response to that on Twitter, on the official Man City Twitter, was Mendy on his Twitter saying "oops" or something like "I will, I promise" or something.
Oops, and then "I will, I promise."
The guy is just such a loose cannon. I have to say, guys, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think it's brilliant. I love it. I think when the players get onto Twitter and they give us that little bit of insight that we don't get from the BBC and from Sky and from BT. They give us that little bit of a behind the scenes.
I must say,
I love it. I think it's really, really good.
That's part of the reason I've really enjoyed this Dele Alli celebration stuff this week, because all of the Spurs players, including Toby, have all been posting about this, and it kind of removes that element of, is there this divided dressing room that they've been talking about Spurs and stuff. So it is really cool that the players do it, and it does give us a bit of an insight from an FPL point of view into who's doing what and why. And
the same can be said, I think, for Patrick Van Aanhout and his doing bits thing. And I think, let's move on from Man City, because I don't think there's much else to say other than
get City players in for this game.
Get them and get them fast and get them for the next 6 weeks.
I don't actually think. I don't think it matters with City, really, who you get. There are some key ones that I think it would be better.
I think it does.
So there's the likes of Aguero and Mendy, who I think are better, and Sterling, who I think are a better pick. But, if you want to go Walker, or if you want to go Sané, they're all going to get game time. They're not. If you want to go Mahrez, they're all going to give you penalty
So the
points.
word you used then was that you're going to get game time.
Yeah.
Which is right, but who's going to get the starts? That's what we want from an FPL perspective.
But in a game... In a run of games like City are about to embark on, even if you only get half an hour out of your player, they're going to score a goal, probably.
I think you've got to be careful with that one. I mean, so you imagine a possibility where Aguero is benched for Huddersfield at home and he starts with Jesus.
Well, my toys will go out the pram.
Well, imagine it. It's going to be meltdown, isn't it? It's going to be meltdown. But either way, I think Aguero will start at the weekend. He started, and there's a stat on Twitter that says he started 14 out of the 14 games in which he was available to play last season at home for Man City. So I think he's going to play. And he is, of course, a very, very strong captain's choice. Let's move on seamlessly, as I was going to Crystal Palace. So the other captaincy choice this game week, and I know we've put 5 in the polls. I'm expecting the polls to come back with 2 very strong favourites. Mohamed Salah for Liverpool, I think, is going to be the other favourite. give me your view on that Crystal Palace versus Liverpool game. And in particular, I'm interested in how you feel about the Crystal Palace assets coming into that game, because the Palace assets did great for us against Fulham, did they not?
Oh, absolutely. But Fulham is a very different game to Liverpool.
Well, certainly, when I saw the highlights of the Fulham versus Palace game, it was 2-0 to Palace, as you guys will know. That does not tell the story. Let me tell you, it does not tell you the story, because Fulham created a lot. Hennessy had a blinder.
If Crystal Palace play in the way that they did against Fulham, with this attacking from the back and committing to the game, Liverpool will love that. Play into your hands in terms of your forward players. It really will. I
think it will, and I've put out there, and I think I said it on Sunday, that I'm expecting. I'm not expecting Palace to sit back and just kind of soak it up. I mean, they are good at home. There's no doubt about it. If you look at their recent home record, they haven't lost a game for something like 2 or 3 months. So they're very, very solid. Roy has got them defending very, very well. But I think instinctively, Van Aanholt and to a degree Wan-Bissaka, although I don't know as much about Wan-Bissaka, but PVA in particular will want to attack. It's in his nature to attack. And that will leave space in behind. Now, the other thing I will say is that Sakho and Tompkins are at the back for Palace. Very, very good defenders. Are they as mobile as perhaps some of the other top defenders in the top clubs? So Firmino has got this great record. He's got this great ability to move centre-halves around and create space for Mane and Salah. Even more space for Mane and Salah. Plus, you've got Keita in behind, as we've seen before. Milner as well, providing some assists out on Trent's side. So I think we're going to get some joy from that. The key question to ask yourself, guys, is do you give Salah the captaincy armband based on what I've just said, or do you just default to Aguero because, it's Huddersfield at home and goodness me, they're going to get battered?
Well, I've spent all week telling anybody that will listen that I'm going to captain Salah this week. And I'm having a major wobble at the moment. Because I wish I could remember that stat. It's something like Salah scored once against Palace. And Aguero has scored ridiculous, I can't remember how many. And it just has put that element of like, oof.
Okay.
Because it's tough, isn't it? So normally your default position with your captain is to say, right, well, I wouldn't spend that much money on a player and not captain them. But yeah, these are my 2 most expensive assets in my team, 11 and 13.
And here's a nice stat from Amonit in the live chat. He's saying Klopp has won all games at Palace away. So there's a lot, rightly, on Twitter about Palace being a bit of a bogey team for Liverpool, and they are. We've not got a great record against Palace. But that goes back a few years. Famously when I think the year when Stevie G did his slip and we went there and drew and the City became champions, all the rest of it. So from there, it's not looking that great. But from what Amonit's saying, I think he's spot on. Liverpool have got a very good recent record at Selhurst Park. So does that give you a bit of confidence?
I actually, and I keep I've said this a number of times to people I've been DMing with on Instagram. I'm actually not sure that there's a bad choice of captain here. And I think that's the positives going into this game week. You're talking about 2 potentially explosive captain options in Aguero against Huddersfield and Salah against Palace. I don't think it matters particularly which one you captain, because I think that they're both going to get points. My fear is, on the basis that I was captaining Salah, my fear is that Aguero has got it in him against Huddersfield to score 4 or 5.
And that is the thing, isn't it? In every part of my 10 years of playing FPL says Aguero, FPL royalty at home against Huddersfield,
who have not looked great.
How are you not gonna? How can you not captain him?
I know.
How can you not?
But then it's Salah.
It would just feel so wrong. But then you look at it and it is Mo Salah. There's no doubt about it.
But then I also think that watching Liverpool last Sunday, Salah looked good, but Mane looked great.
So what are your thoughts on... Do you think Mane's a captaincy option and that he's being overlooked, as Ben Clark is saying in the live chat? You think he's being overlooked?
Yeah, I do. I do think he's being overlooked. I think if I had Mane, he would be potentially... I'd captain him over Salah in a Liverpool team on the basis of how Mane... There's an amazing... and I can't remember this one either, but it's something about how many goals Mane normally scores in August. He's like the opposite of Kane in August.
Okay.
So... For me, I think Mane is potentially
An Aguero hat-trick would give him 14 points. A Salah brace and a clean sheet is 13 points. So, it's tricky, isn't it? It's tricky. I mean, I think you're right. whoever you pick, it's going to be the other one, isn't it? It's going to be the other one. I
might just go the opposite to you, just for like FPL banter.
And I want to go back to a comment about somebody said they are going to captain Kane this weekend. So I want to come to Spurs next. But give me your thoughts on the game then. Palace versus Liverpool. We've got to wait till Monday night for that game.
Oh, we'll have streamed before it.
So we will have streamed before that game. So we will know how Aguero's got on, but we won't know how Salah's got on.
Wow.
How do you feel about that game? You think it's going to be... we're all saying Salah captain as if Liverpool were going to walk away with that game. Palace haven't lost for months at home.
I don't think it's a whitewash. And this is where my kind of uncertainty comes, because I don't see that as a whitewash. I don't see Palace just getting absolutely turned over by you. I don't.
Whereas Huddersfield could easily against City.
Absolutely. But then will it always be Aguero? Probably not. That's the kind of where you're making your decisions.
I'm totally with you.
But I don't see it being a whitewash for Liverpool. I really don't.
Tom Sheehan is saying 3-2 Liverpool. Marcus is saying 3-2 Palace. Okay, interesting.
I can see there being one goal in it, yeah.
Notorious Nerd is saying Salah won't get any of the bonus points. He's a bit of a bonus point.
He does seem to be avoiding them, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a bit of a dodger of bonus points. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So let's then go back to Saturday and talk about Spurs versus Fulham. Now, we've already said about how Fulham created a lot of chances against Palace. Palace were... I wouldn't say they were open, but Hennessy had a very, very good game. Mitrovic caused, I think, quite a lot of problems in that Palace back line.
Yeah.
Spurs did pretty well against Newcastle, but potentially a bit lucky to come away with the 3 points with Rondon hit. Don't look at me like that. I knew you were going to look at me like that. Rondon hit the bar. You had Kennedy missing a sitter. Spurs versus Fulham at Wembley. Home. For Spurs, wherever you want to go this week. Wherever Spurs want to go this week.
Wherever I lay my hat.
Bench FPL is saying a Dele Alli hat-trick. No, I've done it wrong. I was going to be so slick. He said it.
Oh, what is that?
Forget it. Dele Alli hat-trick is what Bench FPL is saying. How do you get it right so quickly like that? Right, back to the game. Spurs versus Fulham. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, we'll win.
Confident. That's what I like. Confident.
Yeah,
not even a thought that Fulham might score past you.
No. Did I say we'd keep a clean sheet? I just said we'd win. I don't think we will keep a clean sheet, by the way. I haven't seen a lot of Trippier in training this week.
Is he going to play this week?
I haven't seen a lot of him in training this week, and I've been watching it really carefully. There's not been much Trippier action that I've seen, so my concern is that he may not play again. We don't look as good without Kieran Trippier defensively. Having said that, obviously the boys will have the returning boys, and the 9 of them, or however many there were in the end that were out of the World Cup, they'll have had a full week of training this week, and it does all seem to have been very jolly and happy and stuff down at the Tottenham Hotspur way this week.
How's Kane looked this week? Is he looking a bit fresher, a bit fitter now he's got a game under his belt?
He's got a 10-day-old baby, so that, you know.
Blimey, yeah, forgot about that. Yeah.
Add Vivi into it, and you've got a bit of a tired potential captain asset. If it was me, I wouldn't be captaining Kane this week. No, I don't see Kane going on an absolute scoring.
And what about your thoughts on Eriksen's underlying creativity stats against Fulham? So, all of us Eriksen owners, of which I am one actually, and I picked him over Mane, which I'm a bit disappointed about, obviously given the haul last week. However, I did look at the underlying stats, and I thought, one of Mane's goals was offside. Eriksen was actually really unlucky not to get something. He created a lot of chances against Fulham.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of happy not to knee-jerk transfer him out. I'm going to stick with him on the basis that he was still being pretty creative, even if his teammates weren't necessarily performing in the final third. So if you were an Eriksen owner, how happy would you be about that going into this game?
I am an Eriksen owner.
Sorry, you are an Eriksen owner. I thought you had Lucas Moura for some reason.
No, I got a question.
So the thoughts on those two, Eriksen and Moura for the weekend?
Okay, let's start with Eriksen. Eriksen, and I say this as probably till I'm blue in the face this season. I firmly believe that when it comes to picking a Spurs midfielder, they will alternate the points. They always do. It's very unusual for Kane, we'll leave Kane out of it actually, for the likes of Dele Alli and Christian Eriksen to both score points, high scoring points in the same week.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to pick a Spurs midfielder, pick one and stick. Don't chase points. So don't switch to Dele just because he had a good game week last week. You need to kind of give them time. Over the course of the season, Christian Eriksen will score you great fantasy points. There is no doubt. But you will have weeks like last week where you feel incredibly frustrated by owning Christian Eriksen.
One thing I did pick up on last week, though, was that Fulham did actually concede quite a few opportunities in the box. So from short range. So I was kind of looking at that and thinking, well, is Eriksen the sort of player in that Spurs side that gets... He's not Fox in the box, is he? No. He scores worldies, he gets free kicks, he's creative, he's an assist mag, there's no doubt about it.
Yes.
But from who's that Spurs Fox in the box? Well, obviously it's Kane, but Dele Alli is kind of like that as well. Yeah. And I see Lucas Moura more as a pick the ball up and drive. Yeah. I see Eriksen more as an assist, long ball creator in chief. But Kane and Ali are the poachers, so I'm not sure I agree with you on that. What you were saying about Dele Alli, I think he's a really, really good pick for this week, Dele Alli.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying I wouldn't pick Dele Alli. What I'm saying is if you've got Eriksen, don't switch to Dele Alli.
Right, okay.
That's pointless. If you've not got either and you want to make a transfer this week, then 100% I think Dele Alli is a great option for you.
Okay.
Moving on to Lucas Moura. Now, Lucas Moura, I've been singing Lucas Moura's praises for the last few weeks because pre-season he was really good. I thought he had a good game on Saturday. I didn't think he had a great game, but I think he had a good game. And I think from a Spurs point of view, he looked dynamic. He was running around. There was a lot of potential there. From an FPL point of view, it wasn't so didn't transfer as well into points. However, Eric Lamela has come back into full training this week.
Is that a problem for Moura owners?
Yes, yeah, because I think they'll share game time, Lamela and Moura.
Okay. He kind of liked Lamela last season. And I've said before on these streams that I'm not a big Lamela fan at all. I don't think he's a very good player. But Poch sees something in him. He obviously sees that he's a decent player. Whereas I think Moura passed the eye test way more. It's just my opinion as a non-Spurs fan. I mean, you know the team better than I do, but I can't see how Lamela walks back in that team, even though he's fit. I don't know.
Well, you see that.
I just don't like him as a player.
Well, I know you don't, but I do. I do like Lamela. I think Lamela's got some real potential, and he's one of those players. A bit like he reminds me in some ways of Dele Alli in the first season that we had him, where people didn't really know what they were getting with him. So yeah, it's one to watch, and it's just a thought. I don't think Lamela's going to start. I don't think he's going to take Moura's game spot for this week because he's only just back in training. But moving forward, it's something that we need to be a bit wary of as FPL owners. Harry Winks is also back in full training this week, which is great news for Spurs fans.
Question from Steve Smith for you in the live chat. He's saying, should Eriksen owners be worried that when Trippier comes back, he could take some of the set pieces? And from what we saw at the World Cup, Trippier must be on set pieces.
Is that what you think, or is that what Steve thinks?
Well, Steve's asking the question. I personally think that he'd be mad not to put Trippier on the set pieces.
I can't see Trippier being on every set piece. I can see them, but Trippier always did take some. He's not. It's not like Trippier never took any set pieces at Spurs. He has in the past. They've shared responsibilities. Eriksen obviously takes the majority, but they have shared them in the past. And I think moving forward that will continue. I think Trippier potentially will get some more, and that's why Trippier is right up there on my radar in terms of players I want when he's back in Spurs fold.
Okay, Leo is saying surely Eriksen is on most. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Leo, Josh telling Eriksen I think stays on free kicks. Yeah, Dom J Eriksen will be on most. I think you're right, guys. I think you're right. One to look out for potentially, Steve, with Trippier coming back, but I think what the guys are saying, I think what you're saying is that Eriksen's going to keep most of them, which I totally agree with. I agree with. Let's move on to Leicester versus Wolves. So this is going to be a really intriguing game, I think. One of the players that I wanted to pick out as a jammy pick, which we'll come to in a bit more detail later on.
Oh, hang on now. Be careful, because my jammy pick does actually come out of this game.
From Leicester?
So, yeah.
You've got Maddison, haven't you, clearly?
No, I haven't.
Oh, have you not? Okay.
Maddison was one of my options, but I've actually picked a different one.
So I was actually astounded when I looked at the TSB, the team selected by percentage for Maddison.
I'm just going to hide behind my hands so you don't see my reaction in case it's the same player.
So I looked at Maddison's team selected by 1.1%.
Yeah, 1.1.
So proper differential jammy pick territory. Now, in the Twitter community, it doesn't feel much like a differential because there's a lot of talk about him. Definitely passed the eye test against Manchester United, no doubt about it. Forced De Gea into at least one pretty good save and got into some very good positions and is on free kicks, etc., etc. At 6.5, I think a very, very good jammy pick. obviously in the Twitter community, yes, he's being talked about, but in the wider FPL community, seems to be going under the radar at 1.1% TSB.
I agree with you. But for me, the reason I didn't decide to go with Maddison as my jammy pick in the end is I just felt like we, as a family,
yes,
have discussed Maddison a lot over the last couple of.
We as an FPL family community?
Yeah,
oh, right, okay.
We have. And I kind of feel that the jammy picks need to be a little bit kind of
more left field.
A bit more wacky. And so Maddison felt a bit too obvious a choice.
Okay.
But I do think Maddison is a great pick for this game week.
And your thoughts on the game in its entirety? I mean, Leicester's gonna want to bounce back after that United defeat. Surely they're going to be looking at that opening schedule and going, all right, well, we go to Old Trafford first, so let's see what we can get from that. But goodness me, Wolves at home, bang! That's when our season starts. We've got to get going then. Vardy's going to be coming back, I guess.
Yep.
Had a bit of a cameo role at Old Trafford, got the goal after only, he was only on the pitch 20 odd minutes and got the goal right at the end there.
Yeah.
So you've got to think that Vardy's going to start now, which is going to make Maddison and people like Damari Gray more of an option.
Yeah.
So having said that, Wolves I thought looked very, very attacking against Everton. Looks a little bit tactically naive, I thought. When Everton went down to 10 men, they stuck with their 3 at the back. And they had kind of 3 people marking Tosin. And it was a bit like, well, why do you need 3 people? They're doing the job on one guy. So I thought the manager, whose name I always forget, Sanchez, whatever his name is, NES, isn't it? Nuno Espirito, I don't know, got some fancy Portuguese name. The Wolves manager.
Only you.
I remember seeing NES on his shirt and thinking, yeah, I've got to remember that. Nuno Espirito something or other. The guys will tell me. The guys are about to tell me in the live chat that I'm a complete Nuno Espirito Santo. Very good. Thank you, Ben. So I thought he was a bit tactically naive, actually, from leaving 3 at the back, marking Tosin. So I don't know about Wolves. You look at them and you think, yeah, all right, Neves looks a really good option. Diego Jota got the assist, looks okay, I thought. Jimenez obviously got the goal. Leicester versus Wolves. I think it's a tough one to call, but I'm going to go Leicester. What do you think about this game?
Leicester.
You do, yeah?
Yeah, I do. Wolves, I just don't see Wolves winning that game. I think that's a tough place to go. Like you say, Leicester on the back of that Man United game, they wouldn't have expected to win that Man United game, I don't think. They'd have gone there, like you said, hoping to get a point. If they could have got more than that out of the game, great. And actually, I think we're a bit unlucky in the end to come away with nothing from the game.
Sure.
Wolves, on the other hand, against a 10-man Everton side, you should... when you're playing 10 men, you should be kind of going all out there, and I felt Wolves, they did have a comeback. They did.
Yes,
they got a point out of the game, but I just didn't see anything there that makes me think that they're gonna beat Leicester. So I think from a fancy point of view, it'd be the Leicester players that I'd be most interested in.
Well, James Brady is saying Wolves will continue to be involved in high-scoring games. I think you're absolutely right about that, James. It doesn't look as if there's much about them defensively, or not as much about them defensively as there is going forward. Going forward, they look pretty good. I mean, Neves was pulling the strings all over the place, wasn't he? But defensively, question marks.
I mean, the only thing to say, I think, for in terms of Wolves is, or in positives for Wolves, is that they've got a very difficult run of fixtures coming up. They'll want to get a win under their belt. So, going to Leicester, they might see that as a bit of an opportunity. Leicester, didn't start that great. Looked a lot better when Vardy came on, I thought, against United.
Okay.
But, yeah, for me, if I had a Wolves player, it's Jota or Neves, really, isn't it? I'd hold
What's your thoughts on Neves, by the way? So I'm looking at the transfers in.
Gone up, hasn't he?
And Neves is at 306,000 transfers in, the second most popular midfielder after Mane.
See, for me, this is a massive bandwagon with a difficult...
It's not to like a goal and assist, 5 million?
The fixtures are not to like.
Okay.
The fixtures are dreadful for Wolves, and that's why I've not gone near him. Okay.
I noticed a heat map, actually, that I tweeted out earlier this week, where it showed that Neves didn't go in the box. And then somebody commented on that tweet. He didn't go in the box at all in the game against Everton. And then somebody commented on that tweet saying, yeah, he didn't go in the box at all last season. And I don't know whether that was tongue-in-cheek or whether it was true, but that was then backed up by a few different people that he very, very rarely gets into those dangerous positions. So yes, you're going to get free kicks. Yes, you're going to get penalties. But you're not going to get any...
How many penalties are you going to get?
Well, at 5 million, how many do you need? I mean, Milivojevic got...
Loads.
A few at the end of last season. We're all raving about what a great 5.0 option he is, and now he's not at 6.5. So is Neves the new Milivojevic?
Maybe, but
penalties and free kicks. What's not to like?
I don't know. I think for me there's a real wavering.
FPL Centre, good evening, FPL Centre. He's with you. He's saying Neves' career stats not encouraging at all. 5 assists in 6 years. Is that right?
If you think about back to what we were saying pre-season, we were saying you don't get on Neves. He's defensively minded. Yes, he's on free kicks. Yes, he's on penalties. But how many of those?
5.0.
Yeah, but
5.0. 5.1 now.
Well, quite. I don't want to spend 5.1 on a defensive midfielder, thanks.
All right, okay, all right. Let's move on. The Saturday evening game is Chelsea versus Arsenal. So the clash of the two teams that have got new managers. The London derby, as you quite rightly say. We'll come to Arsenal in just a second. Guys, give us your thoughts on what you think the result of that game might be. Tell me your thoughts on, we've just been talking about 5.0 options that potentially are becoming 5.1 options and maybe options for our fifth midfielder. Give me your views on N'Golo Kante and his potential new role under Sarri in this new kind of 4-3-3 setup. Do you think he is now going to become an FPL asset after a whole year, several years, couple of years saying he's a centre defensive midfielder? You don't get on him because what does he do? He tackles, he wins it, and he's fantastic at that. Won PFA Player of the Award of the Year for doing that. And then he gives it. He tackles, he wins it, and he gives it. And then it comes back, tackle, win, give. That's it. Yeah. No FPL potential at all.
Yeah.
All of a sudden pops up in the box. His heat maps are all over the place. He's getting attacking. Jorginho's sitting. He's the one that's going forward now. 5.0. What do you think?
He's definitely a watcher. And I think for 5.0, I'd rather have him than I would Neves.
Cool, that's a brave shout. Okay.
Because I think...
Why? Tell me why.
Because if you listen to the press conference that Kante gave at the end of the game, he basically said, didn't he, any new role that the manager wants to give me, I'll give everything to. And it sounded as if Sarri had said, I want you to go forwards.
Yes, I think so.
And so he's been specifically instructed that what he did in that game against Huddersfield is his job in this new Chelsea formation. So from that, you have to look at him in a serious way, don't you?
I think you do. One of the things that I will put out there, though, and Shashank, quite rightly, has just said, to be fair, Kante is not good on the ball, so he's a no-go from me. He'll miss chances. Now, I think you're spot on. We can sit here and we can talk about Kante being this new, he's evolved, he's now an attacking midfielder potentially, but he's plied his trade. He's become the best player in Europe, some would say, at that holding midfield position, tackling, intercepting, winning the ball back. He is brilliant at that. So he's not spent all of his time attacking. So therefore, even if he does get into those attacking positions, what Shashank is saying is he's going to scuff it. He's going to miss chances. He's going to shoot, but he's going to miss.
But then you've also got to think of it from the bonus points point of view. We talked about how Salah dodges them. If Kante's getting back, making challenges, intercepting the ball, passing it successfully, he's going to get bonus points as well if he does anything else. Attackingly minded. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all to go and get Kante, but what I am going to say is you should all watch Kante and he should be on your radar because potentially at 5.0 he offers you a lovely enabling route into some of those bigger players that you would want.
Yes.
So for me, that is why Kante has gone from literally, I laughed. Somebody told me they'd captained Kante and I laughed last week. To now, I'm going to sit here and say he's somebody that I'm seriously contemplating on the basis that I don't expect miracles, but I do expect him to enable the rest of my team.
Okay, Arikori is saying, sorry, but Kante has been really good with his shots. He's been working on it with the French team. So that's me. I'll put my hands up. I've not seen that. So if he has been, then absolutely fine. And I think you're spot on with what you've just said. For me, I'm not drafting him in right now, but absolutely looking at him. Absolutely. It'd be one of the first heat maps that I look at for game week 2, I think. Yeah, because I want to see where he plays.
And this is why, whenever people were asking me about transfers for this game week, and sometimes I should listen to my own advice, but I've been telling everybody, roll your transfer if you can. If you can roll it, because what you get out of game week 1 versus what you get out of game weeks 1 and 2 combined in terms of your understanding of what these players are going to be doing is so much better.
Okay, Vinyl Richie. Richard, good evening. Thank you for joining. He's a Chelsea fan, as we know, and has said doesn't agree that Kante's not good on the ball. He's really good at dribbling, holding off players, and always scores. So, listen, I mean,
I think he's watchable.
I've not watched as much Chelsea as you guys have, and certainly as Richard has. Whenever I think Kante, I think holding CDM. But if you guys are saying he's been practicing his shots, he's good at dribbling, listen, I'm up for that. I'll happily listen to a Chelsea fan's opinion. And if I see that he passes the eye test in game week 2 against Arsenal,
because this is a hard game.
He's absolutely on the radar. Absolutely on the radar.
You play this game well, for me, that'll be my transfer for game week 2.
And I mean, even this is reminiscent of, this is I can't take any credit for this. I heard this on Fantasy Football Scout on the Scoutcast, which was I think last night or maybe the night before.
Yeah, last night.
I think Jonty or somebody was saying this is reminiscent of 2 or 3 years ago when Yaya Toure did exactly this, didn't he? He was exactly this. He was sitting there. He was breaking up the play. He was a centre defensive midfielder. Done all the ugly stuff. Yeah. And he done it brilliantly. That's what he's all about. And all of a sudden, I can't remember the boss at the time. Maybe it was Pellegrini, more or less said, "Look, just go for it, bomb on." And all of a sudden, you had this machine going forward, and he just couldn't stop scoring.
And if you remember, that was the season that you hated me the most from FPL because I had Yaya Toure.
Oh God, yeah,
you just got me points every left, right, and centre. So yeah, for me, Kante is definitely one to watch.
Okay. Bench FPL is saying, well, yes, but Toure's finishing has always been very good. Listen, this could rumble on and on.
Radar.
Feels like this could rumble on and on. This is a really hot topic right now in the Twitter community, in the FPL community.
5 mil. We're not talking about 7, 5.
I know.
And that's why it's key.
And it's for Chelsea, not like it's for Huddersfield. This is a Chelsea
well, this is
player.
the thing. We're talking about 5.1. You've got to pay for Neves now at Wolves, or you can pay 5 for Kante at Chelsea.
All right, guys. So Tom Kearney's fallen out of love with everybody. He's well off the radar. It's all about Kante now.
No, I'm not taking Tom Kearney. He's still in my team and will be for a little while. I've got to give the boy some love. He's got to have a chance.
Absolutely. Look, we've got loads.
It's got till the end of the
first
game.
Transfers, captains, Jammy. We've got to do all that stuff. So let's talk about maybe one more game. We've not discussed Man United. So United have got to go to Brighton. Brighton on the back of losing 2-0 at Watford. You know, they'll want to reverse that, clearly going home.
They won't.
However, I just feel like United won't lose that. I just don't think I saw enough of Brighton in that Watford game, and I haven't seen them a lot pre-season. So if any of you guys have been watching Brighton more closely than we have, I'd love to hear your thoughts. But from my perspective, I think this will be a game where some of the United assets are starting to come back. The Lukaku's, the Pogbas, although there was a bit in the news actually, if you saw this, just as I was coming on, about
reports of
Pogba
drama.
and Mourinho having a bit of a tiff. And I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know how serious it is. I know MU Fan TV's on. Let's hear from you guys and the Man United fans that are on the live stream. Is this a big deal, this Mourinho and Pogba thing? Or is it a bit of a storm in the teacup and are we expecting United to win that game? What's your thoughts on that Brighton game?
I think United will win the game. What do I think about Pogba? I don't know. I said to you, didn't I, when the window closed, that I didn't feel like Pogba would still be here at the end of August. I just think that you don't get this much nonsense around a player if there's not a bit of smoke there. There's got to be some fire, hasn't there? I think. Now, whether he's actually had this almighty row that they're reporting at the moment, I don't know. But there is something going on there.
You think there's something there? Well, listen, Bench FPL, he's a United fan. He's saying it's a storm in the teacup. It's Pogba's agents stirring things up.
It potentially is. Agents are a law unto themselves sometimes.
That is an understatement. Absolutely right.
I think for me, this game is a United win, I think. But from an FPL point of view, I'm more intrigued as to who plays in this game. And that's where my kind of watching is going to come from. Does Luke Shaw keep his place? Is Ashley Young coming back? Does Lukaku start?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So Will Hugel, Will, thank you for joining. He's saying United could profit this weekend. Brighton are still shaky at set pieces and won't face many taller sides than United all season. So I think, with the exception of Sanchez, they are a pretty powerful team. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, United will have too much for Brighton this weekend.
I think they will too. Let's see what else you guys are saying. The Tesso is saying Fellaini to start. Well, maybe, based on what we've just heard about the set pieces. And Ben Clark is saying Pogba's agent is notorious for being a muppet. Mino Riola. Yeah, I think that guy, he does love to get his big wooden spoon out and stir it up. There's absolutely no doubt about it. There we go. Right on cue. Very, very good. So listen, I think we've kind of run out of time there in terms of where we think the FPL points are going to come from these fixtures. We haven't really talked about Burnley and Watford.
Oh, Joe will be so upset.
I can't see that there's a I'm not inspired by that from an FPL perspective.
Don't tell Joe that.
I know, and he's modding tonight as well, bless him. But
he'll be deleting everything left, right, and centre.
delete delete the channel. Forget it. I've had enough.
Yeah.
So, but Burnley Watford doesn't inspire me, and I'm pretty sure Joe's the sort of guy that would say doesn't inspire me either, because he'd come on and say that.
Well, he's going to comment in a minute. That's it.
And West Ham and Bournemouth, I can't get too excited about that either. Except Arnautovic, I guess, is one to have a look at there. Bournemouth with Fraser and Callum Wilson, who, by the way, Callum Wilson, 112,000 transfers in, the most popular transferred in forward.
But I know
this week, no doubt.
Christensen went the other way, so in terms of your players that you love to hate, they balanced out.
Yeah, Christensen, no one get on him, he's a complete troll. But Wilson, 112k in, followed by Zaha at 90, and then Aguero at 84k. So Wilson, very, very popular pick. I can't see a real downside to that. I mean, I was a big believer in Callum Wilson last year, to my detriment, actually. He trolled me massively when I bought him in. But I bought him in on the back of, he's got FPL pedigree, he's played before, he scores goals, he's a very, very good player. So I don't know what happened at the back end of last season. Maybe he was coming back from injury, maybe there was something there where he wasn't quite right and fit and firing.
Maybe just didn't want to play for you.
Potentially, for the end of the season for Bournemouth, which was kind of petering out to mid-table mediocrity, wasn't it? Maybe this is the new start that Callum Wilson needs. Maybe this is the start that he needs to get going in the Premier League. So one to look out for, I think, Callum Wilson.
As long as he doesn't take any more penalties.
Yeah, and I still haven't heard whether there's this thing about if you win it, you take it at Bournemouth. I think that is a thing. I think I've heard that being a thing. So. I think I've heard that. Right. So let's go back to your team, Sam, for the week. So this is your team, but it's the transfers. So what I'd like to do is go to my team. And guys, I saw a couple of you saying let's do a league update, because we didn't really get round to that on the last stream. So we will have a look at the league in a second.
I did post them on Instagram as well.
Oh, this is me, actually. This is me. So let's do a very quick review of my team then. Benching Wan-Bissaka again.
Yeah.
Have I learnt my lesson from last week? I don't know.
Well, you're not going to play him against Liverpool, are you?
I don't think I am. No, I don't think I am. No, absolutely not. And I think it's kind of between him and Steve Cook. I don't think I'm going to touch Mendy or Robertson all season. I think they're just going to stay there. I mean, those guys are just locked in, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's how your premium defenders should work.
Yeah, I mean, not going to touch those guys. You shouldn't have a
premium defender you bench.
Not going to touch those guys. Steve Cook away at West Ham. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Could be Wan-Bissaka eventually. Let's see. Kearney, eyes on him to see whether he can up his game from last week. Like you say, I think you've got to give the kid a chance. Richarlison at home at Southampton, happy with. Ericsson and his underlying creativity stats, happy. Bernardo Silva, happy. Salah, more than happy with. And Firmino and Aguero, I think, pick themselves. So,
what's that captain band doing on Aguero?
Well, this was my thinking 2 days ago. I mean, I'm still very much on the fence, and I've been tweeting all week about how I think Salah's going to have a good game against Palace. So it still could change, guys. That absolutely could change. There's no doubt about that. But this is my team for game week 2. It is more or less the team. In fact, I think it is the team, with the exception of the keepers that I am rotating, as you guys know. So I've switched out Foster and put Fabianski in there. Now, I actually think with Bournemouth, they looked way more threatening offensively than Burnley did last game week. So that might change. I think that Watford-Burnley game hasn't got a lot of goals in it. So I might go back to Foster, actually. But I think I've got to back West Ham at home. And I think that team looks pretty set. I haven't made a transfer. I'm not planning to make a transfer, so that I can go into game week 3 with a bit of a mini wildcard going on.
I think you've got the wrong keeper playing, but that's up to you.
You think Foster?
I think Bournemouth will score against West Ham, yeah.
Okay, all right.
In fact, one of my Jammy pick options did come out of Bournemouth this week.
Okay. So that's my team, guys. The only thing that might change is the captain, but get on to @FPLFamily on Twitter, and I will let you know what my team looks like right up until the deadline, which is a Saturday today. There's no Friday game this week.
No,
so
Saturday.
It is Saturday. Let me see if I've done the right thing here and got your team up, which I don't think I have, actually. And without going into it...
I can tell you.
Yeah, go on. What's your team?
I made a transfer this week.
You have made a transfer, okay. This is your team from last week, by the way. So
the transfer that I did was on the basis that I spoke to a number of, Southampton fans about Bednack on Saturday, Sunday. And the overwhelming consensus was that he wouldn't play and would only play if there were injuries to people like Hoyt and co. And so I kind of made the decision that for me, the way that I was going to play this season was that I don't want to have non-starting players because they're at risk of going down in value.
Absolutely.
Last
thing you want is a 4.0 going to 3.9. That's so frustrating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for me, having said for ages that I was going to keep and I was going to roll transfer, and I always roll transfer from game week 1. I've kind of broken all the rules this time, and I made transfer. So I've done Bednack to Wan-Bissaka because I kind of felt like, on the basis of what Roy Hodgson was saying, and the way he played, but also the fact that, you know, it seems to be a guaranteed starter. I don't need him. I've got Van Arnold, but...
So you're thinking a little bit longer term with him because clearly you're not bringing him in for Liverpool.
No, quite. No,
you know, longer term, a nailed on 4.0 that attacks in a team that gets more than their fair share of clean sheets.
Yeah.
You can't not have that, can you?
No, and it was a kind of straight choice really between him and Peltier.
Okay.
But I just felt that Wan-Bissaka offered something... Well, Wan-Bissaka was also going up in value, so I kind of felt like it was my one opportunity to get him before he went up.
Peltier with a nice fixture, though, this week. Home to Newcastle, right?
Yes, yeah. I just for me, Wan-Bissaka felt like the right decision, so that's what I've done. That's what I've done.
Okay, all right.
In terms of captaincy, it's on Salah still at the moment. I am really toying with popping it on Aguero.
Okay, all right. So it's your one change this week is Bednarak for Wan-Bissaka. Okay,
Yeah.
Like that. All right. So let's have a look then, guys, at the regulars live stream regulars league and see where some of you guys came, because some of you guys had some amazing scores last week. We're going to do the leagues. We'll do the polls, and then I think we'll wrap it up.
Have a little roll down and see
So
Ammonet at the bottom, just so that we can all see the wooden spoon.
Don't pick on Ammonet.
Oh no, we've got some more in. Look.
Yeah, there's some others joining.
Yeah.
Luke, Ben's joining. FPL is joining. So guys, thank you if you're joining the league. So Ammonet down there on 48. Wooden spoon on its way to you, sir. FPL Guru. So Rahal Bahaj. Sorry, Rahal, if I've said that wrong. 107 points, which is frankly pretty amazing. Joe Hart, Mane, Sanchez, Salah, Richarlison, Zaha and Tosin, which, you know, given how badly the forward lines produced for us last weekend, that's actually not that bad, is it?
League as well, there, look.
So a Spurs fan with no Spurs players. There's a guy that plays FPL with his head, not his heart. Very, very good. So 107 points.
Well done.
Alex Summerson in at 105. Dom J, very good Dom J, 101. And then Richard, who I knew had a good game week, 100 club for Richard as well. So a round of applause for you four guys.
Richie.
Absolutely superb. And then you've got Joe coming in 5th. Rishab, who I've said correctly.
You've said that right.
Rishab, who I've said correctly, in at 6th. Who has got, by the way, probably wins the prize for the best team name, although I'm not going to say it on the stream, but Rishab has got the best FPL team. Absolutely good.
I like that one.
And then myself down in 12th with my solid start, and then Sam, you are
about 28th, I think.
Down in 28th with Hannah. So the grudge match
Yeah,
has started.
the grudge match is on, Hannah.
Bang on 78 each. Oh my days. It's there. Right, it's there. You and Hannah bang on 78 each. I love that.
I don't know if Hannah's in tonight. I haven't seen her, but Hannah, it's on.
So guys, that is how the league looks. Before we leave you, we're going to talk about two things. Jammy picks and polls. I would like to hear about your jammy picks while I sort out the polls.
Okay, so I had 4 contenders for jammy picks this week. One was Lucas Moura, who I quickly kind of ruled out as being too obvious on basis of what we said, and the same went for Maddison at Leicester, which left me with 2.
Okay. So you didn't go Maddison at Leicester?
No, because I felt like it was too obvious. It couldn't be a jammy pick because we've spoken so much about Maddison.
All right.
So the 2 candidates I had for jammy pick this week were Ake at Bournemouth.
Ake.
Yeah. And
guys, for those of you that are new to the streams, by the way, and there's a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new followers on at FPLFamily on Twitter, the jammy pick, for those of you who have not heard about the jammy pick before, it's quite random. Now, other vloggers, other sites will come up with a differential, and there'll be some thought behind it. There'll be some knowledge and statistics. The jammy pick was born from
Tadic.
A couple of seasons ago when Dusan Tadic, you brought him in on a hunch, and he got something like 3 goals and 2 assists and about 50 points, and you captained him or something. And I remember saying to you, that's the jammiest pick you've ever had. And so the jammy pick was born. So guys, take the FPL family Jammy pick with a little pinch of salt. But if you trust Sam's instincts, if you trust what Sam is saying, then go get yourself onto this guy. So who have you gone for? Ake.
No, so he nearly went for Ake.
He was on the shortlist. Very good.
He was my second.
Not jammy enough. Okay.
So he wasn't quite jammy enough. Because he was owned by 4.2%, and I felt that was a little bit too high for the second jammy pick of the season. So my jammy pick for the season does come from Leicester.
Wow.
And it's Gray.
Damari Gray. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I like that. That's a good jammy pick.
1.2% ownership, very similar to Maddison.
Yes.
And the reason I went with him in the end is if you looked at his threat and influence scores in terms of BPS from last week, in comparison to his Leicester teammates, leaving Vardy aside, they looked really positive.
Good, yeah.
So
good.
I think with a game at home against Wolves, that's a good opportunity for Damari Gray. So Damari Gray is this week's jammy.
Very, very good. Let's see what you guys are saying about the jammy pick. Spencer Lee, Gray is a lovely pick. There we go. I think you're getting a lot of...
Well, hang on. I'm going to get some likes for it.
You're going to get some likes. You're going to get some likes. Joe Finley Batter is saying Aaron Lennon for him.
Yes, Aaron Lennon.
It's a bit of a throwback to last week. Didn't quite go that well, did it?
Did he play, Joe? Yes, he did.
It's not, did he play? It's, did he get any FPL? What, 2? 3 maybe, because they got a clean sheet.
He got any FPL points though really in that game, didn't he?
Joe can't say he's basically calling you out for Aaron Lennon last week, and you can't say, well, he played, Joe. We're expecting some FPL returns here.
But on the basis of that comment was that when I had Aaron Lennon as my pick last week, some people said, but he won't even play. Well, he did play at least.
Goodness me, all right. So you're calling that a win, are you?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Amon is saying Sturridge for me. Okay. Very good. I'm not sure how involved he's going to be at Palace, Amonit, but he didn't take very long to get off the mark, did he, last week? So very, very good.
You remember they've got to have less than 5% ownership as well.
I think Sturridge does. I think he does.
I'm sure Sturridge does. Yeah.
Gobind is saying Jammy pick Kennedy 5 million. If he's under 5%, I'm not entirely sure he is, but if he is, I like that. Also as a Jammy pick against what I think are going to be this season's whipping boys, poor old Cardiff. I think Newcastle could get some joy there over in Wales. Pranoy is saying my jammy pick would be Joe Bryan, Fulham, good attacking left back. I like that. Nice jammy pick. Straight X Edge is saying Alexander Arnold better than Robertson.
I can't think that Alexander Arnold's under 5% owned.
I'm not even sure if that's a jammy pick comment. I think that's just a general comment, and I'm not sure I agree with it. Straight X Edge. I'll be honest with you. I think Robertson is the one for me.
I think Trent is a good pick too, but I think Robertson is a fantastic pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Notorious Nerd is saying Josh King. I think for a jammy pick.
Too much ownership, I think.
Potentially. Daryl Yanmat jammy pick. Joe Finley Batter. Goodness me, that is jammy. I like it, Joe. I like it. Very, very good. I've got a jammy pick for you for your consideration, and you can choose whether you want to stick with mine or whether you would like to go with your one.
I'm not going to go with yours, am I?
I think Damari Gray is very good. The one I'd like to put out there is James Milner. Now, I think there's obviously... don't give me that. Why have you sighed like that? So James
it's
Milner,
like me picking
James Milner is 0.9% owned in the game. He's 5.5 million. Let me just say that again. 5.5 million. Now, I know what you're going to say. He's a rotation risk. And yes, he is. There's no doubt about it. But this guy is an absolute machine. He ran the game. Him and Keita ran that game against West Ham. He was absolutely awesome. And what I noticed was, whereas Robertson, on his side, bombs forward. Robertson does not care. He just bombs. He goes for it. And he gets covered by Wijnaldum or Van Dijk on that side, kind of steps over and they cover for each other. Whereas Trent gets to a certain point and then he stops. And he gives the ball to Milner, and Milner takes over from that side. So if you noticed, a lot of the crosses from the right-hand side of the Liverpool team came from Milner. Plus he's on corners, as we saw for the Sturridge goal, picked up an assist for the 4th goal. Whereas Robertson bombs up and down that line all day long. So going back to the point that Straight X Edge was making about Robertson versus Trent, not for a minute saying that Trent's not a good defender, because I think the kid is absolutely class. But from an FPL perspective, I think Robertson is the one. He's worth that extra 1 million. And if you've got a spare Liverpool slot, which is the key point here, because not everyone's got a clear Liverpool slot, then Milner at 5.5, I think could be a very, very good option.
I'm not going to have Milner over Salah or Firmino or Robertson, though.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But I do take your point. And I do think he played well last week. So
Okay, I think he's nailed on to play for the time being. He looks absolutely fantastic.
We'll stick with Gray because I think
you're going to stick with Gray. All right, we'll stick with Gray. Guys, we're going to do the polls and then we're going to bid you farewell. Game week 2 captain, Aguero 63%, Salah 27%, Mendy 2, Richarlison 2 and Kane 2. So
this is the other thing. If for any reason Pep decides to do us a wrong one and not play Aguero, you're in a...
He start whenever he was available last year at home. He played.
But you know what I mean. You're in with the majority, aren't you? I think.
Okay, so overwhelmingly 63% of you going Aguero. How nailed on now is Bernardo Silva with KDB's injury? 100% nailed on. 24% should play most games. 59%. We still don't know. 9%. Pep always going to rotate. 6%. So the feeling is that he should play most games, I think
that's right.
Of the next 6 fixtures that look brilliant, if he gets 5 of those, I think I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy to own him. Free transfer for Game Week 2. 65% of you are rolling it. So there's quite a few just rolling, not spending the transfer for Game Week 2. 20% of you are spending that transfer. 11% of you are taking a hit. No one's taking multiple hits, which is very good to hear. But 2% of you are playing a wildcard.
That's one of you.
So there's one or two of you out there that have wildcarded already, which is frankly absolutely insane. But fair play to you if you can get... If you think your squad is that bad that you've got to go for the wild card already, then fair enough. It can't be that
bad after one game.
Fair enough.
Maybe it can.
But again, overwhelmingly,
is it Amunet?
I don't think it's Amunet. No.
Sorry, Amunet.
I think Amunet has been playing. He's been playing FPL long enough now to calmly go into Game Week 2, knowing that he's got a very solid
he's
set
happy.
of
He's got a wooden spoon. That's why he did it.
And he's got the wooden spoon.
That's why
he's delighted. He's absolutely delighted. So 65% of you are rolling the transfer, which is what I'm doing. You've spent yours, but I'm rolling mine. Very much looking forward to having a mini wild card for Game Week 3. See where that goes. I'm looking forward to it. I think this weekend's going to be good, don't you? Some cracking games. Chelsea Arsenal is going to be good. Monday night, Palace Liverpool is going to be a very good game.
Yeah, I do like a bit of Monday night football. That's for certain. Bit gutted that Spurs aren't on the telly, but hey ho, we'll have to.
We'll
have to watch Gillette Soccer Saturday.
You will have plenty of time, I'm sure, to watch Spurs on the TV when you've decided which ground you want to play at this year. And guys, on that note, we will say goodbye. This is our Twitter page for those of you that are not following us on Twitter, at FPLFamily on Twitter. As you can see, we're at 5.7k followers, which is awesome, guys. Thank you to everyone that follows us on Twitter. Head over to Instagram at FPLFamily on there too.
Get your mums and your dads and your brothers and your sisters, everyone to like it, because I've got 200 places to catch up on.
Sam really wants to beat Andy from Let's Talk FPL on Instagram. We really want to beat Andy on Instagram. So get onto Insta and follow Sam on there. As ever, guys, thank you for tuning in. Good luck in Game Week 2. Hit that like button if you haven't already, if you enjoyed the live stream tonight. Get onto YouTube and retweet some of the links that I send out to the channel so we get more and more people watching. And we will see you again. Remember, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And we will see you again on Sunday night, 8 p.m, which is going to be our regular locked-in slot now. As we said before, these midweek ones going to have to be a bit flexible around our schedules, aren't we? But for Sunday nights, 8 p.m, Game Week reaction every single week. And we will be reacting to Game Week 2 as much as we can. Palace and Liverpool won't have even played. Salah captainers won't know what's happened. But we will know about Aguero. We'll know about Chelsea and Arsenal. So guys, good night, and we will see you on Sunday night. Thanks for joining.
Green arrows, everyone.